What's up everybody? Welcome to this Motive vlog. I'm Andrew Hawkins, and this one's going to be more of a podcast because we're going to talk about a pretty big topic, and that is what makes a street car a street car. This causes so many arguments on the internet, it really does. Whenever someone goes, oh, I've got a street car, someone always finds a reason to say why it's not a street car. So I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about it, and you guys can argue in the comments down below. So, first up, let's talk about some of the things that I regularly hear on the internet that makes people go, that's not a street car. The first one and the biggest one is, that car's not legal, therefore it's not a street car. Well, here's the problem with that. Every single country has different laws. Every single state within that country has different laws. And even the police trying to police them interpret them differently. So really, using the is it legal probably isn't really the best way to describe if something's a street car or not. Obviously, you want it to be as legal as possible to minimise the amount of time getting defected, but it's not the be-all and end-all. What's another one we've got? Oh, your car's got a roll cage, therefore it's not street legal. Well, guess what? Porsche GT3 RS comes with a roll cage. So get out of here, don't worry about the roll cage one. Your car's got a stripped interior, therefore it's not a street car. Well, guess what? Lotus Elise versions come without interiors. Ferrari F40 didn't have much of an interior. There are actually a lot of track day special cars, brand new, that are legal and registered, that come without interiors. So what does an interior really matter anyway? So what? It's a bit noisier inside, who cares? What other things have we got? Oh, it's got drag radials on it, therefore it's not a street car. Well, they're on the car. Some R-comps aren't legal either, like circuit tyres, so I'm not sure you can use that argument. Fair enough, I wouldn't go driving a street car on a full-blown slick with no tread, personally, especially in the wet, so I guess you could use that one. The next one is, it hasn't got aircon, therefore it's not a street car. Well, what about all the cars from the 30s, 40s and 50s? What about the R34 GTR N1? It came with no aircon. So aircon doesn't really matter. Some people have convertibles, some people just don't care. Some people would rather have a lightweight car than have aircon. So aircon, not really one for street cars. Your car's too loud. Well, that goes back to the legal thing, doesn't it? Really, it's whatever you'll put up with. Your car uses lightweight panels and Lexan windows. Well, so do a lot of supercars. Does that suddenly make it illegal? Fair enough, I wouldn't drive around with carbon doors, aftermarket ones without a roll cage, because we already know how that's going to end in an accident. Not very well. But there are plenty of factory cars that have Lexan windows and aftermarket carbon panels and whatever, and legal street car. Oh, it has to be a daily driver to be called a street car. No, it doesn't. Why does it have to be a daily drive? I don't want to daily drive like my Porsche GT2 RS. Like, that thing's worth a lot of money, and I want to savour it. If I had a Ferrari F40, I wouldn't daily drive it, but it's still a street car. The whole daily driver thing is a totally separate argument to the street car thing. Plenty of people have collectible cars, muscle cars, you know, cars that are their weekend car. Just because you don't daily drive it doesn't mean it's not a street car. Oh, you've got a big wing on your car. Well, guess what? Porsche GT3 RSs have a big wing as well, and they're legal, and they're also a track day special. So all of those things I hear on the internet, to me, are all pretty null and void when it comes to a street car. So what actually does make a street car an actual street car? Well, some racing have rules. World Time Attack has Club Sprint. Some drag racing categories have rules to say it's a street car. We even have rules for Cootamundra. Now, we wrote those rules on what we believe a street car should have to make it actually a street car. Does it really mean it is a street car? Well, no. Because in racing, a lot of people will take the rules, they'll build a race car, and they'll put back into the car what they need to be legal. So really, even having rules doesn't make it a street car. Now, other drag events like Drag Week just basically say, well, if you drive it, it's a street car. That even holds true for the guys here in Australia. I had a talk with the guys from Street Machine and said, what are your rules? Like, what makes it a street car? And they pretty much said, you're game enough to drive it, it's a street car. Now, obviously, their event, you have to drive a long way. So, in a lot of ways, I guess it's a pretty good thing to say. But, of course, there are some pretty serious drag cars that they just get them ready to drive. So, you can't really win that argument either. So, really, a street car is just whatever you think it is. There's not really a set answer on what exactly makes a street car, I think. But I have my theory on what makes a street car. So if you get to choose what a streetcar is, well then I guess I'll tell you what my interpretation of a streetcar is. And I've got two little golden rules to it. Firstly, if your daily driver's broken, can you jump in your modified streetcar and drive it to pick up your daughter from school or go to the shops to get something if you had to? I'm not saying it's the most comfortable thing in the world, but can you drive it, park it, pick someone up and drive back? Our GTR can do that and does it regularly. Secondly, I think that a streetcar, you should better jump in it, go drive somewhere, put a full tank of fuel in it, and you should better drive it until it runs out of fuel. It shouldn't overheat, it should behave the whole time, it shouldn't break down, and you should better drive it around in normal traffic. If it can do that, well then really it's a streetcar. I mean, we went and picked someone up for wedding duties in this car, drove around for an hour, did the wedding, etc., drove back home for another hour, and pretty much used a whole tank of fuel driving throughout the day. So I think that makes this car a true street car. There are plenty of other little things on this car that probably, you could argue that aren't perfect for a street car, but at the end of the day, I can use it as what I deem a street car is. So is our 9-second GTR a street car? Damn right it is. Jump into the comments, let me know what you think. What do you think a street car is? Is there something it has to have? Do you think all those things I said at the start are wrong? Do you think that those things all need to happen to be a street car? At the end of the day, it's totally up to you, and that's the joy of the internet. We all get to argue about it. Oh, a tunnel. You ready?